Daniel Harper stood near the glass-walled office, the folded termination letter still warm from the printer in his hand. The words didn't feel real, yet each sentence carried weight. Policy violation, negligence. Immediate dismissal, $17. That was all it took, a small discrepancy during a rushed closing shift. Something he had tried to report before it spiraled into this moment. Around him, the bank floor buzzed with quiet tension. Coworkers pretended to stay busy, their eyes flicking up only for a second, before returning to their screens. No one wanted to get involved. No one wanted to be next. The branch manager didn't raise his voice, but his tone cut deeper than shouting ever could. It was firm, rehearsed, final. Daniel tried once more to explain, choosing his words carefully, but he could tell it didn't matter. The decision had already been made before he stepped into the office. Policies were policies, and he had become an example. He nodded slowly, not trusting his voice, and signed the document placed in front of him. The pen felt heavier than it should have, as if it carried the weight of everything he was about to lose. As he stepped away from the desk, his thoughts shifted to his son, Ethan. School fees, groceries, rent, everything depended on stability. And in a matter of minutes, that stability had been taken away. He inhaled deeply, steadying himself, refusing to let panic show on his face. Pride was one thing he still controlled, even as a security guard approached to escort him out. Daniel straightened his shoulders. He wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing him break. The walk through the bank felt longer than usual. Each step echoed in his mind, each passing glance another reminder of how quickly respect could disappear. He had spent years building trust here, staying late, helping customers, doing more than what was asked, and now it ended over 17. Outside the city, noise hit him all at once, cars. Voices, life moving on as if nothing had changed. Daniel paused on the sidewalk, looking down at the letter one last time before folding it neatly. There was no anger on his face, only a quiet resolve forming beneath the surface. Because what no one inside that building knew, what they never thought to question, was that Daniel Harper's story didn't end at that door. In many ways, it was only just beginning. The bank had barely settled back into its routine when the glass doors opened again and Daniel Harper walked in. At first, no one noticed anything unusual. He looked the same calm expression, same steady posture, but there was something different in the way he carried himself now. Not defeated, not rushed. Certain, he moved past the line of customers and approached the front desk with quiet confidence, ignoring the surprised glances from former coworkers who had just watched him leave in disgrace minutes earlier. "I'd like to speak with the branch manager," Daniel said evenly. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried enough authority to draw attention. The receptionist hesitated, clearly confused, but something in his tone made her pick up the phone without question. Within moments, the manager stepped out, irritation already forming on his face. "I thought we made everything clear." The manager began his patience then. Daniel didn't respond immediately. Instead, he reached into his folder and slid a document across the counter. "I'd like to initiate a full withdrawal from my private investment account," he said calmly. The manager frowned, glancing at the paper with mild annoyance that quickly turned into disbelief. He signaled to a senior clerk, who began typing into the system. A few seconds passed, then more. The clerk's expression changed, first confusion, then shock. "Sir, you might want to see this," she said quietly. The manager leaned closer to the screen, and the color drained from his face. Almost instantly, the numbers were undeniable. $63 million. The account holder's name matched perfectly. Daniel Harper, the same man they had just fired over a trivial mistake. A murmur spread across the bank floor as word began to travel. Employees glanced at one another, whispering, trying to process what they were seeing. The atmosphere shifted completely. Respect, once withdrawn, rushed back in an instant, but now it came with fear. Daniel stood still, composed, watching it unfold without a trace of arrogance. When the manager finally looked up, there was no authority left in his eyes, only regret. I think there's been a misunderstanding," the manager stammered. Daniel gave a small, almost sympathetic smile. "No." He said softly, "There wasn't." He paused for a moment, letting the silence settle. "Respect doesn't depend on balance sheets," he added quietly. "It's something you choose to give." With that, he turned and walked toward the door once more. This time, no one dared to stop him.